talking politics. Don't go anywhere. It's entertaining, I promise you.
So, you know, and this is Iowa politics. I love this. It's because when they show up here to talk politics, they bring chocolate chip cookies, which, by the way, are delicious. So thanks to the Link family.
That did come from the Democratic side.
Bribery.
Like,
from the Democratic side.
So
you probably get
whatever
the first question.
Cookies, and of course, Craig Robinson. Whoa, from Republican side.
This is a big week with politics. You know, I was with Senator Rand Paul at the Iowa Super Bowl just this weekend, and he was talking about the debate. And the first thing he said, I said, so second debate's coming up. What's your strategy? He goes, well, I think I was too easy on Trump last time. I think he's a fake conservative, and I'm here to tell you Donald Trump is a fake. So is that going to be the strategy for the debate coming up? What do you guys think?
I saw Rand Paul at Iowa State University on Friday night, and he had a line during his, I mean, he was speaking to 600 college students. So the issues, I mean, they're a little bit different. It was a fascinating event. But he did throw a line in there against Trump that I thought was interesting. But before he walked out, he tweeted something about Rick Perry getting out of the race and how, what's it say about the Republican Party when we have a 3.5-term governor who's forced out of the race, you know, basically because of a celebrity. And then, so we asked him about it afterwards, and his critique on Trump I thought was interesting, because it wasn't personality based. I mean, he brought those things up, but he hit him on an issue on eminent domain and Trump's past statements in favor of the Kelo decision of the Supreme Court. I think if you're going to go after Trump, you need to make this about bedrock conservative issues where there's a disagreement with his stance, and where it's easy to see Republicans saying, that's not where I'm at. And so I think Paul is smart to focus it on issues. I think we're going to have a pile up, out in California. It's going to be a gang tackle on Trump, and I don't know if that's the right approach, but it sure feels like that's what we're going to get tomorrow night.
So we were talking during the break, if we're looking for a drinking game tomorrow night, the best key words would be
China, immigration,
Trump. So
beautiful.
Beautiful.
You know, over on the Democrat side, we're talking about debates. What do you think, Jeff, and what do you think Iowa Democrats think about Debbie Wasserman Schultz saying 6 debates enough on the Democrat side? Like, she thinks that's enough, the DNC thinks it's enough. What do you think about this?
Well, I think that all changes if Vice President Biden gets in the race. I think then it becomes a free-for-all. So, they're trying to put some order to this process. Yeah. And I think they'll have order as long as the Vice President doesn't get in the race. But, whether there's 6 debates or 10 debates, I think that's, going to be kind of a process thing. The Republicans' big deal is how are they going to deal with Trump. I think in this debate, Donald Trump wants everybody to pile on him, because his strategy throughout this entire campaign has been whatever I can do to get more attention is fine. Right. Whether it's bad attention or good attention, I just want more attention. Yeah. And that's been a successful strategy for him so far. I thought it was interesting. We were talking just before, President Obama was in town yesterday. Sure. And it's interesting that a sitting president would come to Iowa at this time of year, and he really didn't talk about the campaign, although was asked about it. He wanted to talk about education and his plan for free college, and he also wanted to congratulate the Des Moines District and North High School for what they're doing there. He said it's really a model. And so it seems to me that he wants to inject the issue of education into this debate. Yeah, I was actually there yesterday, and the best line, someone asked about a candidate, which one do you like with education? That was their way of trying to get him an answer about a candidate, and he goes, I'm going to stay out of the presidential right now. I can't even keep track of all the candidates. It was a good laugh line. It was funny stuff. Yep.
But a big day yesterday, not only President was here, but you said Hillary was in the state.
Yeah, so Secretary Clinton was in the state of Iowa also. She was in Cedar Falls and then in Decorah, talking about campus sex assault. Which has been an ongoing issue, and I guess she had about 500 people at University of Northern Iowa and 800 up in Decorah. So it seems like her crowd sizes are sort of getting bigger. They're past the phase now where they're doing living room kinds of events, because they're now in the phase where they're trying to generate some enthusiasm and excitement. So it's an interesting shift.
I always think these candidates do a little bit better when you get out of the Des Moines metro. I mean, go to interesting parts in the state. I mean, Decorah is not a place that's going to get, everyone, eventually presidential candidates go through there. So when you go to Decorah, though, it's a big event, and that's why I think you have people turn out.
Well, and it's also strategy with the campaigns. I've noticed it in the time I've been here. If you do an event outside of the city, the New York Times, everyone has to decide, are we going to spend the money to send people?
Right.
And I think that reflects in the local communities there. Hey, you know what? They showed up at this tiny town of 500 people. Yeah.
It means more. And
So-
Decorah is a lot bigger than 500, but still, it's not an easy place to get to in Iowa, and I think it shows an effort on her campaign's behalf to go do things in other parts of the state that aren't just easy and convenient.
So I was hearing this morning that she doesn't have as many women polling with her as much anymore. What do you want to say towards
Well, I think there are a couple polls that showed that her numbers were down a little bit among women. I think there's just sort of an ebb and flow. Obviously, when you have a big lead to start with, and then all of a sudden you're tied or slightly behind your opponent, you're going to go down in all categories. It's just kind of the law of physics. So, this is a joined race. It's a real race in Iowa for the to win the caucuses, and she's going to have to work hard to beat back Sanders and O'Malley. And like I said, we still don't know what's going to happen with Biden. That would sort of
The most
toss things
interesting
again.
angle, though, is that I think everyone expected eventually Iowa would be kind of difficult for Hillary Clinton.
Right.
But the fact that New Hampshire is even more difficult, I think,
I'll say that's because he's been next door in Vermont for a couple decades,
Sure.
and Sanders is a very powerful politician. Do you think he holds on to the Iowa lead right now? He's up by 1 point or statistically tied. Do you think he holds on to that through the caucus?
Well, he'll hold on to it for a while. The question is when does that change? And look, I wouldn't preclude the fact that Martin O'Malley could make a run at some point in this.
Governor O'Malley's been on my show several times, but I'm surprised he hasn't generated more. He's still down in the 3 to 4%. It surprises me. What are your thoughts on O'Malley's campaign so far?
Well, I think there was sort of one seat that was a launching seat, and Sanders just happened to be the guy who jumped in the earliest and grabbed that.
All right, before we have to wrap here, what do you think is going to happen at the debate? Let's get last debate predictions.
Pile on Trump.
Pile on Trump.
And then, look, if Republicans despised Megyn Kelly after the last debate, I don't think going negative against Donald Trump in that debate helps.
Debate prediction?
I think the people who really go after Trump the hardest are going to suffer the most.
Yep.
It's tomorrow night on CNN. There's 2 of them. There's the early debate at 6. There's the main debate at 9.
There you go. That's your political party scoopers.